let's go right into the regular meeting. I'm going to call the regular meeting to order. The regular meeting for Thursday, November 5th, 2015. We did the Pledge of Allegiance when the meeting first started, when we called to order originally. We're going to go right into the minutes for approvals, and I'll do them one at a time so everyone gets a chance to double check what they're going to answer. Okay, let's see. We're going to first need a motion to approve the minutes for September 28th, the business meeting of 2015. Mr. Colon, you weren't here that night, but the three of us were. Could I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
And I'll second that.
Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good. Okay, we're going to go to the business meeting, Town of Monroe, October 1st, 2015. And actually, we'll hold that one over. Okay.
16?
The first. Because we don't have a quorum of people who were there. Rick and I weren't there. Okay, we're going to do the regular meeting, Town of Monroe, Town Board, October 5th, 2015. Can I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now this one here is for the budget meeting of the Town of Monroe Town Board, October 8th, 2015. We have a quorum, except myself, so you guys are going to handle that. Can I have a motion to that effect to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Call the question?
Aye.
Abstain. Okay, thank you. We're going to go to the business meeting, I'm sorry, the budget meeting, Town of Monroe Town Board, October 28, 2015. That will be the three of us over here. Rick didn't make that one. So can I have a motion to accept the minutes
So
as
moved.
written? Second.
I'll second it.
Call the question?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay.
Jerry, you
We're
also
gonna-
have the 28th there?
I did that.
The 28th?
Yes.
And that was Dennis and
Myself
Dan and you?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now. We're going to do some upcoming meeting dates and general announcements. Let's see. There's a letter from the school that I'd like to read because there was some confusion with an issue about a fundraiser that the TMAC, the town, were going to engage in with the Monroe Woodbury students on raising some money for some proms in the future for the kids. And this was an issue that came up from the children at the school had asked to do something because a lot of them really enjoyed the theater and they wanted to have some involvement and also maybe get some fundraising money from the school because they do fundraisers around the community. And the TMAC was more than willing to talk about them with it, and the town board was willing to at least look into it. And there was some confusion in a letter that was written. I just want to read one letter really quickly. It's from one of the members of the school, I guess, administration. And what it is there was a back and forth in emails and conversation. This just wasn't something that was pushed through all of a sudden. Here's a letter. Hi to the town board and supervisor. Thanks for all your help. Just had to wait for the 11th hour because it takes everyone time to understand the fundraiser. The forms have to be processed and conversations have to happen. However, we have full support on this project from our administration. This could be a win-win for everyone. As soon as the tickets are available, we can meet to iron out any details. Feel free to reach me at this email and cell phone, so there is hopefully some ongoing discussion. That was from, I don't want to mention the name, it was from someone from the administration of the high school.
You're a liar, Jerry. Mention the name.
What was that?
You're a liar. Mention the name.
Who said that?
I did.
Okay, Anthony, with the rude comments and yelling out, in about 1 minute, you do it again, you'll be out here, just so you know. You don't call people liars when I'm reading something. I'm not supposed to give the name of the person, because I'm not supposed to. Okay, here we go again. It started early. Thanks for having some manners, right, Anthony? I started it. I read a letter from the administration. Can't you be reasonable? I know you can't. That's the problem. Okay, I see where this is going. It's from the administration of the school. The administration of the school. Is there an owl out there?
Jerry, can I?
No. I'm not going to give names to people if they're going to come under undue criticism. But thank you for not listening with respect.
Jerry, the superintendent said
Okay.
it wasn't authorized, so the question is who said it was?
Okay. We're gonna move on to the next topic.
Jerry, that was totally bogus. Yeah, read Elsie's letter.
Okay. You know what? If I had it, I would read it for you. If you didn't get it, there was some confusion between the certain parts of the
You want to
administration.
read it?
No, I don't. Thank you. I don't have it. Please stop interrupting, Anthony. Okay. Listen. I would like to just ask everyone to be polite. I just read a letter. At the next meeting, I'll read a letter if the superintendent wants to give us one. That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
She posted it publicly.
I know that, so I don't see what the confusion is.
No confusion.
Thank you. Seems to be. Okay. Here we go.
Why don't you go? Leave.
Please be polite to your fellow citizens, all right? Don't tell them to leave. Okay, I'd like to make an announcement that at the TMAC Center, there was some confusion among some of the people that there was an issue, and I believe there was an issue, about the TMAC cards. We're going to look into that, and aside from the temporary cards, we're going to make sure that the permanent cards are mailed out. But I hope that doesn't discourage you, and I hope you come out and get your TMAC card if you're a resident, and come and see some $5 movies for Monroe residents only, and enjoy the nice movies, and also enjoy the very reasonably priced concessions, and also enjoy the building because it's yours, and it's here for you to enjoy and to use. Thank you. All right, now, there's a special election for the library on November 9, 2015 at the Monroe Senior Center from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mary Ellen, did you want to say something about that?
Just that the polls will be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There is, just so the public knows, there was no absentee ballots, and there will be no affidavit ballots. By special election law, that's how it is under the requirements. So please, will come out, vote. It will be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Okay. Now, some special, or actually regular events. Obviously, we're here tonight on the town board meeting. On the 10th is a planning meeting. On the 11th, obviously it's Veterans Day, the holiday, so we're closed. There's a budget meeting on the 12th, which is Thursday at 7 p.m. right here. The 16th is a town board meeting, 7:30 p.m. and the vote on the budget. That night, there's also a public hearing on the tree code and amendments to Chapter 57 zoning that have been proposed. There's also on the 18th, Conservation Commission meeting at 7:30 p.m.
Correction, 8 o'clock.
It's 8 now?
8
Okay. Okay, that was a misprint, sorry. 8 p.m. I'll correct that. Thank you. All right, on the 24th of November, there's a ZBA meeting at 7:30. And on the 26th and 27th, be closed for the holiday Thanksgiving. Okay, planning meeting on the 1st of December on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. There is a meeting scheduled here on Thursday at 7. Not sure what that is yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. There's a 7th of December is a town board meeting at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday at 7:30 PM, there's a planning board meeting. On the 16th of December, there's a conservation commission meeting at 8 PM.
8.
Okay, thanks. The 21st of December, there's a town board meeting at 7:30. ZBA meeting at 7:30 on the 22nd of December. And on the 24th is a half a day for the town, and Christmas Day obviously is a holiday. And then that would then move us in toward the new year. Thank you.
Jerry, is the tree code on the website?
On when?
On the website?
Gonna be
Yeah.
posted on the website?
Okay, the Town of Monroe compost facility will open on Saturday from 9 AM to 3 PM. Starting on October 17th, obviously it started already, and continuing through Saturday, November 21st. The facility is only open on Saturdays. Okay, there's some other note here, I can't comprehend what they wrote here, but it's open on Saturdays from 9 AM to 3 PM out on Lakes Road as you go towards Chester or Greenwood Lake. It's on the left. Okay. All right. Now, we'd like to, just one change in the agenda that just came up at the last minute. I would like to, first of all, actually two little changes. The Highway Superintendent, Tony Rizzo, said he wanted to speak. Are you ready, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, as you all know, my last day will be January 1st as superintendent. I'd like to congratulate John Cherney as the new superintendent. And I'm sure he'll do a fine job. And during my administration, we took care of many things. Mowing, leaf removal, snow ops, did water for 1 year, multiple road projects, building and maintenance for 1 year. We got 5 new trucks, new loader, which we need more equipment. 5 men who left or retired, and I understand 2 more men are leaving. The department needs more full-time personnel, and I hope the new superintendent will get that. And other equipment needed to do the job of highway and protecting the town and making it safe. FEMA projects were received from Irene, $575,000 in revenue, and Hurricane Sandy was $145,000, and surplus equipment $68,000. I personally try to stand by the residents as much as I could. There was situations, and hopefully they'll be rectified. During my term, we did over 200 jobs, and that's why I brought this board. These are the jobs that were completed, and there's a few more to be completed, and I'm sure John will take care of that. This is just a partial list of the work that was done, including roads, culverts, road projects, and other numerous things we have to do out there. And again, it's over 200 projects, and I feel in leaving, did the best I could to serve the public, and I wish the public well. That's basically what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Is the rest of the group ready to come in? Is the rest of the group ready? So maybe they could come in now. Okay. Okay. Microphone.
Tony, could you just move over by Rick, please?
I heard that.
We're going to now have a presentation to the board from Xylophone. I think Debbie Major and someone else is going to speak, and after that I have another thing I have to add to the agenda. But right now we are on the agenda, so you can
Tony,
come.
could you sit next to Rick?
Come over
Tony,
this way, Tony,
Tony,
because we have 2 speakers. So come on up to do the speaking.
Is it okay if I stand? Or do you prefer I sit?
Well, if you're gonna be
It's
by the
better
mic,
if you
probably
sit.
sit.
Okay, very
Get a
good.
microphone.
Thank you.
You can come up next. Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Okay, yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much for offering us this time. My name is Debbie Major. I'm the CEO of Xylophone Studios. We are a non-for-profit, Orange County-based. We are an entity that is brand new. We are a performing arts center for the special needs community. We started our program 4 years ago. Before that, just to give you a little background on myself, I was the music instructor over at Inspire Kids for almost 10 years. We do a multitude of different programs from the ages of 2 all the way to 92. Anybody that has a special need, we try to bring music and theater and programs that offer them the opportunity to be creative, to be free to express themselves through music, to play instruments, to sing, to do expression. Even nonverbal people like to dance and just be who they are. The wonderful thing about our program is it's very, very unique. When my children were born, both of them have a special need. My son Gage is here. I started the program on behalf of my children. When they graduated from high school, there were no programs set up for adults in the special needs community for music. And my son Gage is an actor. And he wanted to be in a theater program in the worst way. And I thought, there's nothing in this area. I was on the board of directors for Crystal Run at the time. And I asked Jim Lawler, is there any place around? And he said, there is not. Why don't you make something? I think the community of Orange County needs this. And we started it 4 years ago. I'm very proud of how much we've excelled in the community. At this time, we are on our second children's theater production, which we are working on here at the Monroe site. It's called Swamped, and it deals with typical and disabled children working together, inclusion, doing singing, dancing, learning their parts, doing scenery, having that special crew feeling about being in a theater production that they wouldn't have been able to do. I go to senior programs, Park Manor, Promenade, HRC. I work in day-hab centers. I'm also a music therapist up at New Hope Community up in Sullivan County. I think the idea of bringing music and theater to a population that is not offered the freedom to have that in their life, even to change the channel on their own radio station. They have aides that do that. They're very segregated. They're very watched out for safety reasons, obviously. And when they come to this program, it's a different language. It's a place that they can just be. There are no boundaries. And I can't even tell you, I've been working with this community of people now for so long. You just need to put an instrument in front of them and they just smile, they come to life. There's something so unique about music and the way it makes you feel inside. I'm so proud of what we're doing in the community, and I'm so proud that Monroe is part of what we're doing. I think that we are integrated in Newburgh, we're in Middletown, Montgomery, we're everywhere, but Monroe is our focus right now, and I really believe that what we have to offer to the community of Monroe is very, very unique. This space is so important to have. So during the daytime when nothing is being used, we can bring senior programs in to do senior yoga, to do dance, to be able to sing, to just socialize, to have a place to go. This is why it's so important to have a performance center for people to come that's very free, there's nothing like this. Do you guys have any questions about what we do? Have you heard of xylophone before this?
Yes, absolutely.
You have?
Yeah.
Where did you hear xylophone, if you don't mind me asking?
I heard about the one in Middletown and Newburgh.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I didn't know all the spaces you go, but that's good. And we're glad to have you here. I believe There was a few people in the community who came, and one lady came and spoke to the town board months ago about her child and
Oh,
what she
okay.
wanted to have happen. Also, there was a town employee who has a special needs child, and she got involved in it, and also Supervisor Doles did a lot of the impetus for moving it forward, and the board saw the good things that would come out of it, and also to help your whole operation, to bring it into another area of the county, and to this space which is for everyone. I think
great.
it's good that you were the ones actually who reached out and
Yeah.
talked to the supervisor, and it was a good move, and we appreciate it, because you've done a lot for the community
Thank
throughout
you.
the county, and we're glad to be there for you in any way we can be.
And another thing I wanted to quickly mention is the benefit for the community. This past summer, we worked with the Youth Bureau. We brought one of their high school students in to work for Xylophone. He came to AHRC with me. He helped me record a gal who has a brain injury, and she's a songwriter, and he helped me with all of our equipment. The Orange County Arts Council would like to put their summit here next year.
Wow.
For Xylophone, to make that the focal point and really build it up. This could be such a bonus. And I think it's just awareness. A lot of people haven't heard of this and have no idea how to get involved. You can bring Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you can bring, to include all of these folks in the community in what we're doing is really what we're trying to do. We just hired some interns from New Paltz, music therapists that are both on the spectrum, that are both Asperger's. So we're giving them the opportunity to become music therapists in a field that so needs them. So it's really a win-win thing. I know I'm going to let the president of our board speak. This is Mark Pugh, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the board members of the town of Monroe for providing the opportunity to convey our message. I'd also like to take the time to thank the audience for listening to what we have to say. I'm sorry?
We weren't given an opportunity.
Okay. My name is Mark Pugh. I'm the engineering manager for a small local business that designs and manufactures pharmaceutical equipment. In October of 2013, I was invited to attend the Xylophone workshop for children with special needs roughly between the ages of 5 and 12. Not knowing what to expect, my childhood memories of 50 years ago resurfaced. Several children of varying ages with disabilities in a room with one teacher. We saw them rarely. Were they being shielded from us? I eventually realized they were being hidden. Their activity, a box of crayons and a coloring book. Much has changed since then, mainly ADA regulations and the associated benefits. Upon arrival to the session, my timidness was immediately recognized. I was handed an iPad and tasked with photographing the participants with their individual coaches. Due to my assigned task, I remained focused on the behavioral benefits the workshop environment and staff promoted. The enjoyment of all was evident. Exposure to music and the related freedom of creativity are the foundation of Xylophone. The tools used to supplement are patience, understanding, compassion, and most importantly, respect. Unfortunately, all have been weaned from our society. I was particularly intrigued by the inclusion of typical children as a primary principle. The goal, to break down perceived barriers and promote and encourage mutual understanding, and more importantly, acceptance and respect. As 2014 commenced, I was asked if I would commit to participating in a 6-week workshop session as a volunteer. Having discussed the foundation principles, related mission, and witnessed the results, I welcomed the opportunity. I was not sure where I would fit in and questioned my qualifications. However, I was convinced that my participation would be beneficial. I attended the sessions regularly and became familiar with the program. In spring 2014, I was asked to join the board of directors. I anxiously accepted the invitation and was voted in. In February of 2014, I became president of the board of directors. Throughout my tenure, I have continued to attend the workshops, drum therapy sessions, karaoke, etc., and I'm looking forward to our children's performance of Swamped on December 12th here at TMAC. It is not unusual for me to be asked, why are you involved? What do you get out of this? I'm a father of 2 typical sons, Christopher, age 24, and John, age 23. Recently, they both completed college and have acquired full-time employment. I lost my father in 2013 and my mother in 2014. I remember visiting them in care facilities. They both enjoyed music and had a passion for dancing. When the music began, they were always the first ones on the dance floor. I have no family or relatives with special needs. When the child you worked with the previous week returns, recognizes you, smiles, and gives you a high five, the success is evident. Although he is nonverbal, he feels understood. He has acquired a new friend. The parents are confident they are bringing their child to a safe and trusted environment where they will be presented opportunities, appreciated, feel, and will be respected. I have also participated in programs at care facilities, Dayhab senior centers, as well as here at TMAC. Xylophone and its programs are not confined by conventional boundaries. Utilizing our past experiences, we explore alternative methods, culminating in base programs that can be adapted to specific groups, therefore providing a variety of benefits to all, regardless of the challenge or challenges they face. I have accumulated and witnessed numerous benefits provided to individuals. In the interest of keeping this brief, I will not list these incidents. However, I would enjoy the opportunity to share them if asked. I'm thankful for the knowledge and skills I have acquired throughout my personal life and professional career. Xylophone provides me the opportunity to assist in the development of new programs and workshops that teach basic life skills and bring joy to our patrons. I utilize my experience to help develop and provide hands-on tools that are used to supplement and help convey the theme. Our only boundary has been a lack of facility that we could call our home. The inefficient use of time required to travel and premature wear of equipment from unloading and loading limit the benefit we can provide. However, our intent has always been to provide our programs to individuals who cannot travel. Buildings or facilities with all the amenities such as TMAC are few and far between. Easy access, elevator, handicap bathrooms, large spaces, a clean and safe environment, several theaters beyond. This is a community treasure with limitless possibilities for our region. Until recently, we experienced restrictions and limitations like our patrons. Our access to TMAC allows Xylophone to expand programs and workshops beyond belief, therefore satisfying our never-ending goal to forever expand and improve the programs we provide to the special needs community. Together as a team, the possibilities are limitless. In the spring of this year, Xylophone was recognized as a growing small business that provides a key benefit to the community via the programs, workshops, and provided services. There were over 1,000 applicants from across the country. Vistaprint, a company with annual sales in excess of $1 billion and typical annual growth of 20%, selected Xylophone, a company consisting of approximately a staff of 10 members and volunteers. We believe this recognition speaks volumes to our local community and beyond. We are thankful to the town of Monroe for sharing the same insight and seeing the value we provide to the community.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We also have a few letters that my sister's going to hand out just to let you guys see from our parents and
Okay.
some of the facilities that we work with, the benefits of Xylophone. So they're yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'd like to thank you for coming here this evening and making your presentation. We've been very honored and happy to be a part of what you do, a small part. It's really amazing. something to be very proud of.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank everyone for coming and being here tonight. Do you want to have anyone else speak, or is that what you're doing? Okay? Klaus, keep it down. Yes, stop that. Okay, nod your head no. We'll see about that. Don't interrupt people like this. I'm sorry for the interruption. That's beyond our control, obviously. But we'd like to thank you for everything you do in the community. We're going to do everything we can to keep this space available for your group.
Thank you.
It's going to be a little bit of a struggle perhaps, but I am obviously 100% behind it.
Thank you.
I think a lot of, I can't speak for every board member, but the board has always been behind you, the supervisor, the employees at TMAC, and I think a large part of the community. And
We appreciate
keep
the
going.
support very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Okay, on this?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Tony. Thank you for coming.
All right. I'd be available for fundraising if the situation needs, and a few of my members. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Very nice. Okay. Now we're going to do actually, I'm going to go right to financial resolutions. Actually, no, I'm sorry, John. John, I'm adding this to the thing too. John Cherney had asked me right before the meeting if he could speak briefly. So why don't you come up and just speak briefly if you want to, John? John's the newly elected highway superintendent for the town of Monroe. You gotta go to the mic, John. Yeah, you have to, or they won't hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have to shout into it.
Yeah, it's loud, it's loud.
So, I'm John Cherney. I'm going to be the highway superintendent come January. I'm going to look forward to working with the public of the town of Monroe, and it's going to be a fair and even keel job that I will perform. So I want to thank everybody that has supported me, and everyone that had not at that point will hopefully support me in 4 years, because I will do a fine job for the town of Monroe and the public in the surrounding areas. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we're gonna go to financial resolutions. I need a resolution to pay the bills.
I'll make that resolution. I'll second.
Okay, call the question.
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Mr. Milligram is in the house, so would you like to say something?
Judge, if you want to, that's fine.
Judge, please.
I didn't see you there, sorry about that.
It's all right, I was hiding in a corner.
I know the feeling.
I just wanted to express my appreciation and gratitude to everyone in this room. I know everyone did not support me, but I know many of you did. I have done my best over the last 4 years to serve as your judge. In fact, interestingly enough, on election day, I was called to do an arraignment. It's the least thankful part of the job, but it's the necessary part. I will continue to do my job. I will continue to be available, and I'll continue to try to be honest, fair, and just in all my decisions. And I hope you'll all never appear in front of me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, stop shouting out for a minute and let me speak. You just don't stop. I admire that pernicious persistence, but I don't need the rudeness when we have a group of disabled people here and you're calling out rude comments. I'm not talking to you. People who didn't know who I'm talking to, keep waving at me, Klaus, I understand, and keep nodding your head. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Now, I would like to also, because this was not supposed to be anyone coming up and doing either with Tony talking about his last few months, which is fine. John, I didn't know the judge would be here. In all fairness, I would like to, for a brief statement, as the other men said, I would also make it the courtesy to both Anthony Cardone and Mike McGinn separately to come and make a quick statement, and that'll be fair to everyone, right? Let's just do it that way. Anthony?
Thank you to everyone who has been involved in this process.
Tony, do me a favor.
I know Mike and
Tony, can you introduce yourself, please?
My
So people at home know.
Everybody knows who I am, Jerry.
Okay. Just being courteous. I know you don't reciprocate, but it's all right.
Jerry, don't interrupt me while I'm talking, Jerry.
Too. Don't call me a liar when I'm speaking.
My name is Anthony
I don't.
Cardone. For those of you who don't know me, I don't mean to sound cocky with the comment I just made to Mr. McQuaid, but I will thank you all for the process, the passion with which you have tried to rectify what's going on with this town board. I know Mike and I have a promise to everyone in this room, everyone associated with the town of Monroe, that we will do everything to bring everybody the respect and dignity that you deserve, and we will promise to make sure that as a town board member, our number one responsibility is fiduciary responsibility, and we will promise we will do everything we can to hold that in line. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardone.
Mike? Mike, before you begin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly, Jerry.
Thank you.
Listen, my name's Mike McGinn. I've been a resident of town of Monroe since 1993. A lot of you know me. Actually, let's do this so I can look at you and not be leaning over the table. Listen, of course, we'd like to thank everyone that supported us, and listen, we know that this town needs a shot in the arm, and we all want to live in a community that's not divided, and that's what Tony and I are going to try to do, is provide that. Certainly, we want to get back to a time and a place like when we moved up here in '93, where there was a good sense of pride in the town, and listen, there's always going to be friction between the government and the local people, but it's gotten out of hand, and I'm hoping with Tony and I on the board, we can kind of get back to a better place by hearing your concerns at every meeting, and making sure that that you get to say your piece and not have your First Amendment rights restricted. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
We've got a budgetary resolution.
Yeah, I know. I'll get to it.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we're going to, the comptroller has given us a budget, appropriation request. It's to appropriate $20,000 from the A fund balance to the fund for A 000-5130-4303-00. This is in order to pay for the emergency repairs required for the salt shed doors. Say that 3 times fast. This has been discussed with Peter and I guess some of the other members. I don't know if Tony was involved, John. I think John had spoken to Peter. We have to protect the salt so that it doesn't get the moisture, and I understand that, with the snow right around the corner, we can't afford to have any mishaps at this point. So, Peter, did you want to address that?
Well, it was brought to my attention today that they had the bids to do this emergency repair, and I looked at the various ways we could fund it, and this is an A fund charge. The highway garages are the A 5130 budgetary code lines. So there's not enough cash floating around between all the lines to pull this all together, so I thought the best way to do it was to appropriate the fund balance and get it done.
Okay. I
Eric.
understand the weather situation. Tony?
I have a
Tony?
comment, yeah. Peter, thank you. After 2 years, we're finally getting salt doors. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the board? Okay, we would need a motion for that appropriation of 20,000 for the salt shed doors. So I want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, it's a necessary thing. Obviously, we have to take care of this before the salt gets ruined or compromised. Thank you. Call the question?
Aye.
Aye, thanks, guys. Okay. Thank you, Peter. All right, let's go to old business. Okay. I'm going to refer to Mary Ellen for the bulk mailing, because I know I brought it up a couple of meetings ago, and I know it's been looked into.
Well, Jerry, you've asked me to get the information
Yep.
on this. I know over the years, we've looked at this, we've never really felt a need, because the only time we really have an excessive amount of mail has been the tax bills once a year and when the assessor goes out, and we really haven't had a need. I did pull the information for the board to review and see if they wanted to go forward, to see even if we qualify for it, and you actually have to go down to Westchester, I believe, and go through them, because that's where they have us going to for this sort of thing. There's the permit imprint. There's 3 or 4 different ways this can be done, and I had very briefly spoke to Peter about it the other day, and I didn't really go much further with it, because I don't know of any other town that's using this.
Okay.
So we looked into it, but I really don't think that we have, the mail that's going to,
The volume?
the volume.
Well,
The water bills go out
Water
quarterly.
bills,
They're 35 cents.
tax bills,
The tax bills go out once a year, but
and that's a huge mail. We have a $30,000 budget for postage, so it would be interesting if you could reduce that with the bulk mailing, if it applies.
Okay, I guess we could hold that over to the board members, maybe do some more review, not in a rush to do it, but it's something to think about.
I know that, I haven't done all that much research. I've been, not saying, but this wasn't top on my list right now with the elections going on. We can look further into it, but, there's other ways too. We need to, honestly, the newsletter we can put out through the website. I really please encourage the public to sign up for the newsletter, the agenda, everything, through the website, because we send them out. And there's a way to save money right there if you have a newsletter that has to go out. I'm encouraging the public to sign up, and you're saving right there, because we're paying, the maintenance fee. We paid for the website, so that's a cheaper way to do that.
Mary Ellen, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
With some of these mailings and like water bills, can we look into, a lot of people pay their banks. I for one, we do a lot of online banking. Is there any way we can do more online banking to avoid?
Well, that would be up to Peter in the water department. I mean, we pay tax bills online. I mean, you could look into having
wouldn't
that
help, though?
availability.
I would, not everybody is gonna be, online, I get that. Not a lot of people, not everybody wants to do it, but more and more it's getting to the point where you have to do your banking, you're paying the bills online.
Yep. I mean, it's something that...
It would be better than having a bulk. I'm not looking to spend more, I'm looking to...
No, but we can,
But it can be
you can
more
ask
efficient.
Peter. Yeah, I mean, that's Peter with the water department, if they want to get involved in that.
It would depend on what kind of payment you're going to accept, because we all know if you do it, if it's a credit card based issue,
You pay your tax.
You'll have credit card fees that we
Yeah,
have
but 2
to
or
pay.
3%.
2.45% is
Then
the
that
fee in
comes
the
out of,
town
then you
clerk's
gotta take
office
that
right
out,
now.
now you have to take that out of the revenues to the water districts. And you heard tonight from Mary Bingham
No.
about that. Yeah, there's a charge to the town.
No,
charge
there's,
to the town.
no, I do credit cards in the town clerk's office, and I do them for, online for the tax bills. It's 2.45%. That, we cannot absorb that cost, we put it back out, person walks in with that credit card, they pay that. So there's
That you meant the
no,
card payer paid.
absolutely, the municipality cannot incur that. So that goes to the resident. To use a debit card, it's $1.75 flat fee. You can do an online check for $1.75. Or if you choose to use your credit card, it's 2.45% of the bill. So, this was brought up, Peter, before you came about going to online. I don't know if your program has that, Edmonds, but I know that before you came, it was discussed. But no, we can, that merchant fee, we cannot absorb. That is put, if the person chooses to pay by a credit card, they have to absorb that.
But they can still pay by debit, and they can still pay by check.
$1.75 for debit,
Outside.
$1.75 for check, absolutely.
And it's immediate, and
Absolutely.
it's done
And
through the mail, it's easier for everybody.
I will tell you that in the last 2 years, there has been a huge increase on online tax payments. Huge increase. And it works. So, yeah, I mean, that's, if you want to look into that, that's fine, but there's another way. I would say, Jerry, in all due respect, that
Yeah.
we'll research this more. I really
Okay.
haven't had a lot of time.
No, I understand you're
to
busy with
look
everything
into
you're
this,
doing, yeah.
But, we'll look at it and see where it comes.
Thank you for the research, and I appreciate that. I was looking to make it a little more cost-effective, and maybe then, if there were some things that had to go out to the public, there wouldn't be a hesitation just because of price, because it was more reasonable, we could do
Yeah.
more to keep the public informed, that's
There's
all.
different ways of doing it. There's the
Thank you.
imprint, there's the canceled stamps, so there's a lot to research here to see if it would be feasible for us to do this.
Okay, I appreciate it. It wasn't a rush, but I appreciate all the effort you put in. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll keep looking into that. Okay. Now, next order of business.
Retainer agreement.
Yep, let me get to that. Okay. There is an issue to approve the supervisor to sign modified retainer agreement for Dickover, Donnelly, and Donovan. Okay. Okay, this is to handle any of the legal work that is coming forth from the legal issues with the KJ annexation. It's a modified retainer agreement. It's, let's see, basically, I think, I guess I can read. I've been representing the town in all aspects of the two KJ annexation matters since the inception of each. When we modified our retainer relationship with the town at the time Peter Tillman began day-to-day legal representation of the town board, you asked me to continue representing the town in those annexation matters, which we did. Last week, you authorized the retention of co-counsel to assist with that legal work. Some have suggested that because I am the lead counsel in these matters, it is inappropriate that I be compensated at an hourly rate less than that paid to the co-counsel. I appreciate the sentiment. To remedy that, I suggest that our existing legal retainer agreement be modified to authorize payment to my firm for all legal work done on the annexation matter at the rate of $350 per hour, the same hourly rate being charged by co-counsel. This rate will apply only to our work on the annexation matters. All the work, including planning board and zoning board representation, will continue to be billed at the rate of $200 per hour. If what I've just set forth is agreeable, I ask the supervisor to sign this engagement letter at the bottom and return the signed copy to us. I will then sign the agreement and the engagement letter. I don't know. So that's to keep things going with the firm and to modify the retainer agreement. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we
approve
authorize the supervisor to sign this retainer agreement.
Do we have a second? Second. Okay, discussion?
He's doing a great job. He gives us all the information we need, keeps us informed. He knows more about land use than most other attorneys in the county. We have a lot of faith in him. So I'd be happy to do this.
Mike Donnelly knows his business, that's true. But the co-counsel that we have?
The co-counsel is a firm called Keenan Bean in
the city, that's
in White Plains. And I'm sure you know there's a pretty big legal team on the other side, and it was felt that Mike needed some horsepower to help him respond to legal papers.
Right.
But Mike was in court today on this case.
No, I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Call the question?
Aye.
Okay, now, we're going to revisit an issue about the painting of the dog shelter, approval for painting. The bid situation was straightened out. What happened was, as was noticed, one of the bids was different from the others, and there was actually a little bit of a disagreement from one company. They wouldn't provide something that was required of it, so they actually both kind of eliminated themselves from the running. So what the bid that actually was willing to do all the work required by the DCO and the building and grounds decisions on what to do for the dog kennel sections is VN Painting. They have obviously the area prep, the after area prep, 2 coats of Tough Shield paint and 2 coats of epoxy and 1 coat of sealer, and the bid is $5,000. Obviously the floors will be ground and sanded as part of the prep work, so that'll take care of any of the rough stuff on the floor. And basically that's what we have here. So do we have a motion to accept the bid to handle the dog shelter floors and walls?
Can you fix the feedback on the mic? It's really bad.
Okay, George, there's a feedback on the mic, if you can address that. Okay, so I guess you guys got the picture. I remember we were here last time and there was some issues with this, but it was looked into by the DCO and the building and grounds. And this is what they came back with after talking to all 3 companies. So,
What happened to the other 2 bids?
they basically wouldn't move from the difference in what they wanted to do. One of the costs was almost 3 times the other 2 bids. The other bids were very close, but the other company would not then agree to do some kind of coat of sealer that was required, so they weren't going to rebid it. So they dropped out. Can anyone make a motion to accept the bid for VN to do the dog shelter work?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
You did, you seconded for discussion, didn't you?
No. I'll second it. Okay. Call discussion. Any more discussion from the men?
Peter, what's going to be, what's the appropriation line for that one?
Okay, there's money that was donated to the dog shelter that had been sitting around just in a cash account. We're creating a capital fund and depositing those funds into that. There's over $12,000 in that fund right now, so I believe that would be an appropriate place to take this capital improvement for the shelter.
Yeah, it actually was a life insurance behest. Someone made the dog shelter a beneficiary on their life insurance policy, and half of it went to the dog shelter. So it'd be nice to put it to work here.
Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go to, let's see. There's a resolution for a dial bus to enter in a third-party lease and service agreement for capital equipment with the County of Orange. Peter, did you have a chance to review this? Peter Tillman, attorney?
The dial bus contract?
Yeah.
I don't think I was given a chance to review.
Okay, so we could move forward with this pending your
I
review.
have not seen it yet.
Okay.
That's why
All right.
it's pending.
Can we just wait?
Okay, you want to hold it over?
Is that the purchase of the,
That's the insurance and
the insurance?
I guess we can hold it over if the,
third party insurance is pretty important.
you want to hold it over, Rick?
If the attorney hasn't,
Okay.
you feel you can do it by
Whatever you want to do.
next meeting?
I can definitely go by the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
hold over.
Thank you. Okay. The next issue is about a building department vehicle. They would want a motion to approve the purchase of a vehicle for the building department. Did anyone have a chance to review?
I looked that over. They're looking at Explorer. It's way too big. I don't think they need anything like that.
Okay.
Then they looked at a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Right.
That's also really a full size. They don't need that. They're only driving around town. The Laredo is a lot smaller. There's many other vehicles that they can get, even an Escape. Just to mention a few. I don't think we have to spend over $30,000 for a vehicle for that. Maybe we can get a Tahoe. No, but
We already have one. All right, so the rest of the board was...
we gotta look into another vehicle. That's a little bit much.
Okay. Any other comments from the board, if you want?
Don't they already have a vehicle?
They have
One
a
of the old
vehicle.
dial-up buses?
They have an older vehicle.
This is Maldonado.
This is
Building inspector.
This is for building inspector.
Oh.
And his Jeep is, I forget how old, but it's... It's pretty old.
We get a Grand Cherokee or an Explorer, we could go one up on the village, because I think that inspector only has a little Jeep. Gets them around town, okay. I'm definitely against this. I think the building inspector needs to rethink it.
Okay. All right, so we'll talk to the building inspector and see if he wants to reconsider that.
We're working.
Okay?
We're working.
Very good. All right. Next issue, that's another holdover. Okay, talk to Ben. Peter, can you talk to Ben tomorrow about that? Okay, thank you. Okay, approval to hire at the current rate of pay, part-time watch guards. Okay. Okay. Okay.
What's
The reason for doing this is because to officially hire the people not to be on a 1099. It should have actually been done a while ago. The head of Department of Public Safety, Mr. Brown, had asked for this to be done a while back. I don't know where it went to. It sort of got pushed back. He asked again, he gave a list, he presented it to the supervisor and the sheets to the board. And it's something that, according to his knowledge of the state, that you're supposed to do it this way. You can't keep people on 1099s forever. Years ago, the old one of the previous boards, or probably a couple of them, had one of the guards in the court on 1099s for a long period of time, and it was overlooked, and things weren't changed until he actually then, when things were going to be changed for him, he left the town employment. So this is going to be done in order to comply with, I guess, the state regulations and
also federal.
And federal regulations
IRS.
also.
Fair Labor Standards Act.
Okay, and the judge is well aware of it also.
Jerry?
Okay. Yes,
Excuse me.
Mary Ellen, go right ahead.
We made a motion, this was done a while ago. There might be a name or two here, or three, but
Okay.
I'm actually pulling up the minutes now, but so some of this was done already.
I don't know if it went through or what, I don't know
Yeah, no,
why he
it was
brought it back.
We had passed
Well-
it because they were all, I remember discussion
I know,
on that.
but
They
he
were
brought
all
this forward.
what they call contractors.
1099, yeah.
1099, we couldn't do it anymore.
The minutes never made it to the finance department.
Okay, so it never actually went to the state or federal,
And so it hasn't been,
so we have to do it now.
it hasn't, your
Okay? I'll
desire
read
to do this had not been put into effect yet, that's the issue.
Okay.
So,
All right, we move forward and progress as we go forward. All right, I'm going to read the names so everyone hears them. There's the Office of Department of Public Safety, Town of Monroe, to be hired at their current rate of pay of part-time watchguard, same title, but not on the 1099, actually to be part of the town staff. 1, Mark Lawrence, 2, Stephen Lilly, 3, Mel Joya, I'm sorry. Thank you. 4, Daniel Roman, 1, John Bayer, 2, Vincent Facey, 3, Francisco A. Dieudonné. Also, these gentlemen, the last 3 can do planning board and town board and ZBA. There's different assignments for them besides just the court. The next group of 2 can do alternates. They can be part of the non-rotational staff, I guess fill-ins, vacations, for the court, the planning, the town, the zoning, and special details. And this would be 1, Anthony Bachiller, 2, Patrick Rodrigo, and then at the TMAC you have 1, Tammy Hollins, 2, Jordan Tyler, and 3, Alan Cohen. Their alternate also fill-in vacation, sick, family emergency, and actually one more name they added, 4 was for Michael Joseph Gerenser. So that's the full staff, part-time and fill-in, and we have to make a motion so they would be hired part-time for the town and off the 1099s. Can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll
to that
make the
effect?
motion.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Call to question?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, let's see the next issue. Okay. Okay, this one is for an educational approval. There's an approval for HR, Leah Felderman, to be, go to a class for HR. It's $99 plus gas and tolls, and it's a human resources to increase your HR responsibility knowledge, key issues, basic laws, best practices, different primers, benefit basics, record keeping, best way to establish and maintain confidentiality, essentials employee coaching, counseling, and discipline, critical need to know legal info, and much more. Express enrollment, it's $99. Can I get a motion for that?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Call to question?
Aye.
Next issue. Okay, this was brought up the other week. It's come back because we held it over. Okay, this is a approval to hire Beckham Kosovich as a part-time bus driver. There was an ad run in June. It was run, I think, for 1 week at a cost of a couple $100. No response. This person walked into the dial-up bus and said, you know, he was just looking for a job, and they took his information and processed it. He passed everything that was necessary. Yes, including background check, yes. Okay. Now, that is,
When you hit somebody, it will hold you responsible.
okay then, we just need a motion to hire this man as a part-time bus driver.
I'll make the motion that we approve hiring Beckham Kosovic as a part-time bus driver for Dalabus.
I make the motion, we hold this over.
just have
Take a
one.
look at it. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Did you make your motion before I made my motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Is there a second for my motion, then we can discuss it?
Second the motion for discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's some doubt, we can actually, pending HR review on the background check, we'll do an extra review, but at least we could move it forward that they could be hired pending an extra review on the background check. I don't know what all the chatter's about, but we'll listen. Can you let people speak? Okay. That's it. We'll do the extra checkup on the background check, make sure it was done.
Yeah,
properly. That's all.
Yeah, it's too much.
Fine.
Thank you.
Fine.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
call the
excuse- what
question.
are we doing? What?
We're just gonna tell HR before the hire is made, there'll be a double check on how the background check was performed, that's all.
Okay.
If that's what people want, that's
Call
fine.
mother-in-law.
What is the rate of pay?
It's a starting pay for the part-time is $16 per hour, as every other starting pay is for that department.
I want to look into that and call the mother-in-law and see what's going on.
Okay. Okay.
If there's this much chatter on it, there's
Call the
something
question
wrong.
about, well, that's why we're listening and we're gonna look into it. Can I call to question, please?
She's still alive?
Call to question?
Nay.
Aye.
Nay.
Dennis?
Abstain.
Okay, so we can't move the motion forward, so we'll have to wait on that. Now,
Yeah,
I don't know what
let
the
me
chat
point
is
out-
about, the only problem is that we need to have drivers, because a driver got ill the other day, quite ill. We have to replace people. This application was in many weeks ago, and it was actually brought up the previous week and reiterated again. So that's why I think it's a mistake waiting, but that's the board's pleasure. Okay.
Let me add also, it's very difficult to get drivers. Now, the Dollar Bus put an ad in the Times Herald Record, ran for a week, and there were no responses at all. Now, if you've seen, there was an article recently in the about Shortline, and they have problems. They can't get drivers. So there's a shortage of getting drivers. And this person has a CDL. He was interviewed weeks ago, and this came before the board, I think 2 weeks ago. And everything that was missing was added to this. So, what'll happen, if the hiring is delayed for 2 weeks, he'll be gone someplace else. And right now at Dollar Bus, one of the full-time drivers went off to the hospital and will not be back. And so they're now down one full-time driver. So it's important now more, and there are people who depend upon this. I mean, there are disabled people, senior people that depend on the bus. And if you don't have the driver, you can't send the bus out, and those people don't get taken care of. So, yeah. So I think if we're going to be, running a department, I think we should do what we have to do instead of putting it off 2 weeks and then another 2 weeks. I think it's we're sabotaging our department. Anyway.
Well, Dan, you do bring up some good points. However,
Yeah.
if there is a public outcry, I mean, you got to go with the knowledge in the area, in the room. And if there's an overwhelming sense that we may be making a serious issue because of the desperation of a need for a driver, nobody's saying we don't need the driver. I don't think that was the outcry. The outcry was, please look into this, and because they don't want us to make it. So I don't think the issue was the hiring of a driver. It was, there may be more of an issue here, and it would be wise for us to pause a bit just to look in. That's all I think.
Did the audience let us know why they thought this might be an issue?
I heard a rumor.
What was the rumor?
Okay. First of all, the public had said something that the board obviously took seriously, so we did make the observation that he did. We would run through HR again before he was hired. I think we're making a mistake by not making the hire pending that review. But if the board doesn't want to put it forth because something that's really unsubstantiated but would be looked into,
Well, gentlemen,
I don't know why people wouldn't at least honor that.
Excuse me, folks.
Okay, so
Jerry.
I'm not supposed to be debating the public here. You made a point. The board listened. We said we'd look into it. If the board doesn't want to put this forth, and we reduce service for a while for people, that's the way the board feels. That's fine. I think. Here we go with the nonsense. No one's run anyone over, and no one's going to. That's not the issue. Let's stop saying that. If you keep calling out like this, it's going to be a problem. We're going to look into it because you mentioned it. Now, can you just leave that as it is? Or do you have to keep yelling? Listen, we're on letter, we have a lot of work to do tonight because there's actually work here, not just calling out. Okay? Now, in order for us to achieve the work, you got to give us a little bit of the respect that you'd want if you were running a meeting. Any more of this continues from this point on, I'm running the meeting, there'll be no public comment. So you either quiet down with the calling out and yelling and laughing and screaming, or we won't have public comment. You have to respect the board's ability to get their work done. We know you made a comment, we listened to it, can you just leave it at that? Thank you. Okay.
Jerry, I have a comment.
Go right ahead, Tony.
On CDL drivers, I have a list of 12.
Are they PE?
I believe so, yeah. You can take a look at them,
Okay.
interview them, maybe that'll
Why
help
don't
you.
you, could you
I can arrange.
put that list in the supervisor's office?
Of course.
And then we'll forward it?
Yes.
Thank you, Tony.
And I also have another comment. I have a previous meeting and I have to excuse myself.
Oh.
So I want to say goodnight to everyone. And,
Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you for the input. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, call me.
All right, now we're gonna move to F. We're gonna ask for a approval from the board to place an ad in the Times Record, I believe for 1 week, for a full-time bus driver for the dial-a-bus department, because there was an unfortunate situation with a full-time driver who became very ill, and we're all sending our best wishes out to his family, himself, and hopefully for a recovery. And on that note, I'd like to just ask the board, this would be starting at $16 an hour, as all the starting rate is for everybody who starts, and we're just looking to place the ad in the THR.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Yeah,
Okay, call the question.
the ad's probably about $270.
Yeah, in that area, but that's the price they charge for the ad. Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Very good. Authorization, now with that, we also then have to, as we've been learning, as we've gone along here, authorization for Dial Bus to hire the full-time driver. This is for HR to get the authorization with the civil service. Also, we will be doing all the necessary checks for anyone who comes in, background and otherwise, and checking all licenses and endorsements and all that. So we do need an authorization for Dial Bus to hire a full-time bus driver. I don't know at this point if the person that is ill will be coming back. We hope that they someday can, but I don't know the length of the hire. We're all wishing for the best, but can I get that authorization? Motion.
To hire or to create?
This is authorization to hire. They have the position created.
Positions created?
They just need the authorization to, when everyone answers the ad and all that, to then go through the checks and then to hire somebody. So we don't have to wait until another meeting.
I'll make the motion so we could talk about
How could you hire?
it. All right. I'll make the motion.
Any second? We're not bumping anyone.
Mr. I apologize.
No.
If this person is out on a disability and they're receiving FMLA, you can't close their position.
We're not going.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not going.
No.
You have to have that position for
Thank
them
you.
if they
No,
come
we
back.
know that.
No.
We understand.
No.
That's why there's a new one.
We're just filling the
wouldn't do
spot
that.
while the
We're creating a new position.
Listen,
No, they're,
authorizing a hire, we're not replacing anyone. Sorry, Judge, but we're not doing that. Okay, we know that. Okay. So where are we at? Do we get a motion?
So I made the motion that
Can we get a second? Did we have a second? I'll second the motion for discussion. If we don't fill the spot, because like with most of our departments, as the department heads who are here know, we don't have extra employees who are sitting around in the bullpen getting paid by the taxpayer to come in if someone gets ill. We have to hire other people, at least on a this would probably be hopefully a temporary basis, so that the gentleman who has come ill can hopefully recover and come back to his job, which he does a great job for the town, and we're all very pleased with what he's always done for us. If we don't do this, we're gonna have to start canceling service. If that's what the board wants to do, that's your pleasure, but I think we should just go forth with the procedure, not complicate it.
Yeah, at this point, what we're doing is approving hiring the driver. And we have a position open, or?
Yeah, but we don't have a name.
We are
Or do
just
we have to
doing
create
this.
a position?
No, the positions are created, there's extra positions created in case of this happening. HR has created the positions. We just need to be able to fill it when they get in the responses from the ad. This will take probably a week or two to just start, going over things, going through background checks, licensing checks, endorsement checks. It's a process, so if we don't start this now, it's gonna set it back further and further. Right now, Dial Bus is running special, when they do their certain pickups, not just the routes, but they do door-to-door pickups in this community. They're actually scheduling 2 or 3 weeks out, because Dial Bus has been so successful in this community for many years, long before this board was sitting here. It's gotten even more successful, and the public ridership is up. We're actually expecting a new bus, I believe, next month. That's already been taken care of as far as I know. I talked to the Dial Bus director. The new bus should be delivered probably next month sometime. So we can either hire someone to continue the service we're now providing, which is 3 weeks sometimes to get a ride, a special ride, to your doorstep, or we can set it back another week or two on the service. But this is a service to the community that's been here for a long time. It helps a lot of people, including a lot of elderly and disabled, workers who don't have cars who have to get to work. So I don't know why we wouldn't move forward with it.
So what we're doing here is authorizing the hiring process to start, right? And then when a applicant is identified and processed, that hire will come before the town board again, right? Is that the process we're following?
No, it doesn't sound like that to me.
No, it's not.
Okay, what are we doing?
Look at
We're authorizing the Dial Bus to hire a full-time driver once the ad is put out in the paper, once the responses come back, once all the checks are done, when the Dial Bus director who hires people checks everything out with HR included, then there will probably be one hire made to replace the person who's already been out for several days. It's just to replace someone for the time being. I was told by HR I just had to do it this way. I didn't have to say temporary. The question was asked already. Thank you very much.
Jerry?
Yes, Rick?
Previously, we always got the names of the people we were hiring before. I mean, isn't this kind of different?
Yeah, this is kind
Well,
of
it's a little
like
different.
writing a blank check.
A check. The guy is gonna get, or woman is gonna get paid the same starting rate that any driver gets. We haven't issued any checks yet.
No, that's not.
Well, that's what Dennis said.
That's not exactly what I meant. We just went through letter E, and we wanted an approval to hire this particular individual. And now we find that there may be some reason to do a continuing check on his background based on what's been noted in Google. Now you want us to approve a full-timer. We don't even have a name. I don't get it.
When we get a name, we'll make the name public. Right
Well,
now,
then-
how can you even go out
Well,
to hire somebody?
then this authorization or this resolution should not be to hire an individual, it's to open the position.
Because you're giving the authorization to hire. That's
The problem being, Dennis, is that when you go through all these steps, if the step comes a day after a meeting, what we could do, because the Dial Bus is looking to get people in there, because they're behind on a lot of stuff, because there's such an increase in ridership, that we can have a special meeting. Let me finish.
We have a budget
We can have a
meeting.
special meeting if the Dial Bus director tells us that a meeting had just passed and that, she needs to hire now, then we'll call a special meeting for it. So we could take this off the table, but I would like everyone to show up and have a quorum when the Dial Bus director tells us that we need to make the hire. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay,
We've done
thank
it
you.
before.
Thank you. No, I don't remember
No,
special meetings for hiring a dollar.
No, but we've had plenty of special meetings.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair. Fair enough. Okay, next. Let's go to the next one. All right, we're going to set a public hearing for proposed local law number 2 of the year 2015. It's to name roads that are going to be in the Bald Hills Estates, and we just want to have set a public hearing.
Mr. McQuaid, I think there may be a mistake in the,
Yes, Peter?
I believe letter I is,
Proposed law number 2.
Right.
She went to 8.
Letter H
You
is for
skipped
the road
H.
naming for
right,
Bald Hills Estate.
I'm
I
sorry.
is proposed the local in number 2.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but this is H is the naming.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead, you're correct. Okay, H is a road naming for Bald Hill Estates. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at it,
I saw some of it.
but there's no big rush, but they want to give us their suggestions from the Historical Society and for have the board look over the names and, maybe at the next meeting, whatever, come back and discuss it individually among different council people and come to some agreement, okay? So we don't have to do anything on that tonight.
And send in
Okay.
some names of a
And,
road.
yeah, people
So
can always
it
do that.
doesn't sound like a military base. but
Right.
I would like the general public, to give their input on some names. Stop it.
It's already been done.
I'm not going through that again.
Okay. So anyway, look it over, come up with some suggestions or thoughts, and talk to each other and figure out what you want to do with that. There was suggestions made by the Historical Society.
No comedians,
Okay.
please.
All right, now, as I was thinking I was going to before, we're going to do it now.
Now you got it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Proposed law number 2 of the year 2015 to set public hearing. This is it's a local law number 2 of the year 2015, a local law establishing rules governing animal waste being enacted by the town board of the town of Monroe as follows.
Is that why
Okay.
they call it number 2?
How appropriate, that was a good one, Rick.
Okay.
I don't know.
Section 1, funny word, nuisances there. Prohibited disposal of feces. 1, no person owning, harboring, keeping, or in charge of any dog shall cause, suffer, or allow such dog to soil, defile, defecate, or commit any nuisance on any common thoroughfare, sidewalk, passageway, bypath, play area, or park, or any place where people congregate or walk, or upon any public property whatsoever, or upon any private property without the permission of the owner of said property. The restriction in this section shall not apply to that portion of the street line between the curb lines which shall be used to curb such dog under the following provisions. A, the person who so curbs such pet shall immediately remove all feces deposited by such animal. B, the feces removed from the aforementioned designated area shall be disposed of by the person owning, harboring, keeping, or in charge of any animal in accordance with the provisions of this article in a sanitary manner. In no event shall feces or other waste be disposed of in a manner which permits same to impact on adjoining or neighboring properties. 2, it shall be unlawful for any person having custody or control of any dog to place, deposit, discard, or dispose of feces or manure on public property or private property of another, unless placed in approved garbage or refuse containers on public property or with the consent of the owner of the private property. Section 2, enforcement. Town constables, town animal control officers, and town code enforcement officers are hereby authorized to issue appearance tickets for a violation of this chapter in the manner prescribed by law. Section 3, penalty. Any violation of any provision of this section shall constitute an offense and shall be subject upon conviction to a penalty or fine up to and not to exceed $250 or not to exceed a term of imprisonment for 15 days or both, except as otherwise provided herein. Each and every violation in the case of a continuing violation, each day's continuance thereof should be deemed a separate and distinct offense. Section 3, effective date. This local law shall take effect upon the filing of certified copies thereof with the office of the Secretary of State in accordance with the Municipal Home Rule Law. That's that. Okay. Can we have a motion to set a public hearing for this proposed local law?
I'll make that.
Can we have a second?
With a date?
We'll set it.
No, I'll second it and then we can pick a
All right,
date.
so everyone want to discuss a date that, I think on the 23rd, there's a town board meeting, if memory serves? Would that be,
Oh, November 23rd?
16th?
I don't know if that gives us enough time. Mary Ellen, where,
November 16th is the next town board meeting.
And then
That can get published in the paper, the notice in time.
it's in time?
Okay.
Okay.
Or
Do we have another public hearing?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Why don't we do,
Pearl Harbor Day.
I mean, we could do that first on that evening, or we could set it to another evening when it's less, we could, if it's up to the board. Do you want to do that, I don't think that's going to be a huge turnout just for that, but the other one will probably have a bigger turnout. So do you want to set it for that date or not?
You know, let's put them together. So
Okay.
Everybody can come and comment on both.
Dennis?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
November 16th?
November 16th would be the date, and the time would be, Mary Ellen, I guess 7 also, or?
We can do local law number 2 at 7 PM, and we can do local law number 3 at 7:15 when you go to set that one.
Okay. All right, so that's the 16th.
Yep.
7 PM. That's 2. Okay, thank you. So, that motion would be to set the public hearing as we discussed for clarification on November 16th at 7 PM. Can I call to question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, thank you. Okay, now, let me move to the next one. Okay. Proposed law number 3 of the year 2015 to set the public hearing. This is for, wait a second. Okay.
I'll have to look and see what time that is, Lorraine, because I haven't gotten the public notice on that yet.
Okay.
Would you like me to explain this one?
Okay. We could, setting this local law 3, that would be, didn't we already set the, we set the time and date for the tree code. What, yeah, tree and zone, what, yeah, what number was that? Mary Ellen, do you remember, as the record?
The tree code is local law, proposed local law number 2. No, that would be number, wait a minute. You already have one. So tree code would be 4. We haven't noticed it yet, so it would be 4.
It'll be number 4.
Would be number 4.
Okay.
And we've already set a public hearing date for it, right?
6:30 on the 16th, when you said that.
And it's on November 16th at 6:30 PM, right? And do we have to repeat that tonight, or?
No, we already did.
All right,
We
that's
already made
good.
that motion. Okay, Peter, is that,
I'm sorry, I missed out.
no, is that, we set this one now for 7:15
7:15, so this is, right.
for the dog waste, or animal waste rather.
No, I believe the dog waste was 7.
7.
7, I'm sorry.
And this is, proposed local law number 3 is going to be 7:15, if the board votes on that.
And we
Okay,
already
we already
have
did that.
4 for 6:30 PM, right?
All right.
Okay, so it's going to be a busy
Has
night.
that, we haven't had a motion to set that yet.
Which one?
Local law number 4.
Or 3.
Yes,
Or
we did. We set a meeting date for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did the code one we did at the last budget meeting, to set the public hearing. Was that wasn't noticed yet, Mary Ellen?
No, that wasn't noticed.
All right, all right. I'll have to dig it up tomorrow, make sure it gets out.
Okay. So what the numbers is, we're gonna notice these numbers as Mary Ellen sets them out to the press. she'll put the proper number on the local law. So it'll be done in order.
I'm sorry, Mr. McQuaid, just to back up a second. Local law number 4, was a resolution passed to set a public hearing date?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to repeat it tonight?
No, I don't think we have to, it was already said.
Okay.
It was already said. We set a public hearing for that already.
What would you advise?
Well, I didn't see that resolution, but from what the town clerk is telling me, that it was not set as local law number 4, and I didn't draft the tree code, so I don't know who's going to prepare the resolution. I can prepare the resolution, but I need to see a copy of the tree code.
Okay, I thought that was sent to you by the town planner already.
No, I did not see a copy of it.
She said she sent it to you, but I'm sorry. I didn't know you didn't get it or see it.
Jerry, I think for all, okay, in the paperwork there, public hearing was set, but it wasn't set as a local law. All right, and the number, so I think that to set that, I think you need to reset it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for that advice.
So I'd like to set a public hearing for local law number 4, which is the chapter 57 zoning, which is referred to publicly as the tree code, for proposed amendments to chapter 57 zoning code for November 16th at 7:15 p.m.
6:30.
Well, now that we're setting them, we have one, okay, we'll make it 6:30 still, 6:30 p.m. I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's said also. Okay. That's 4. Okay. Now, hiring a labor attorney. Discussion.
But we didn't do number 3 yet.
I don't think the board's had time to review that, so we're not doing.
Well, actually, I sent it together with local law number 2.
Okay. Well, does the board want to do local law 3 now, or do you want to wait? I don't know if we did this yet. I would think we'd hold that one open.
Well.
Okay. All right. I didn't get a resolution for that. I did not get a resolution to read for that one.
Oh, it's in the package.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Do you want it?
I want to just table it. Just table it. Just table it. We can move on to other things. Okay. All right, here it is. I didn't have it in my package. All right. Okay. I'll read the proposed law. Now this would be number 3. Okay, we'll make that number 3.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right. This is chapter 8 of the Town Code of the Town of Monroe, State of New York, is hereby amended by inserting the following new Article 6 entitled Police Constables into Chapter 8 and adding the following sections under Article 6. 827, Office Established. There is hereby established the Department of Public Safety for the Town of Monroe. 828, Appointment. The Department of Public Safety of the Town of Monroe shall be managed by a captain who shall be appointed by resolution of the Town Board and who shall serve at the pleasure of the Town Board. The captain shall be a peace officer, as that term is defined under New York State Penal Law 2.10, paren 1, and shall have the power and authority to appoint police constables as members of the Department of Public Safety of the Town of Monroe. The captain and police constables shall serve without compensation unless and to the extent authorized by express resolution of the Town Board. Qualifications 8-29. A police constable shall possess the following qualifications: shall be a citizen of the United States, shall be over the age of 21 years old, shall be of good moral character. 8:30. Peace officer status. Any police constable appointed under the authority of this chapter shall be a peace officer, as that term is defined in the Criminal Procedure Law 2.10 per N1, and shall be deemed a part-time employee unless the town board by resolution specifically provides otherwise. 831, powers and duties. Police constables appointed under the authority of this chapter shall have the authority of peace officers as defined in the Criminal Procedure Law, and shall provide for security at the town court, town buildings, and at official town meetings, and shall provide security at such other events and places in the town of Monroe as deemed appropriate by the captain and the town supervisor. 832, supervision of police constables. Police constables shall be under the direction and supervision of the captain of the Department of Public Safety for the town of Monroe unless otherwise resolved by the town board. 833, use of weapons. Police constables may use and possess only such weapons as are permitted to be used and possessed by peace officers pursuant to the laws of the state of New York, and such weapons may be used only as permitted by the laws of the state of New York. The captain may promulgate such rules and regulations as the captain deems appropriate in regulating the possession and use of weapons. 8-34. When effective, continuation of previously appointed constables. This chapter shall take effect immediately upon filing of certified copies thereof with the office of the Secretary of State in accordance with the Municipal Home Rule Law, and this chapter shall not affect any constables as defined in Article 3 of this chapter, and who shall continue to have the powers and duties pertaining to their civil functions as defined in Article 3 herein. This chapter relates only to police constables, and nothing contained herein shall be deemed to grant any additional powers or duties to a constable defined in Article 3 of this chapter. That is proposed law, local law number 3 of the year 2015, and we can set that public hearing if we so desire. That would be 3 at 7:15 p.m. on November 16th. Okay? Okay? Does someone make a motion to set the public hearing?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? I'll second it for discussion. Okay, discussion? Okay. See no discussion. Does anyone want to set the public hearing tonight, or do you want to hold it over?
I prefer to hold it over. We have a new configuration coming on the board. They may want to have their own.
Dennis? Dennis?
Yeah.
Do you want to hold it over? Do you want to hold it over?
Is that the motion on the floor?
There's a motion on the floor for discussion.
Yeah, we're discussing it.
No, I'd vote in favor of it.
Okay. So we'll set the public hearing. Let's call the question. Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll set the public hearing for November 16th at 7:15 p.m. Mary Ellen, you'll notice that one also?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Now, the next thing to do is to discussion of hiring a labor attorney. We've talked about this on many separate occasions. I don't think we're going to do this tonight, but it's a discussion. We've had some employee issues and labor issues. We've often talked with Mike Donnelly. He suggested some labor attorneys to us, even going as far back where we used some labor attorneys that were put forth to us in a recommendation by previous attorneys. We've used them in spots, and there might be a reason maybe to hire a labor attorney that we would obviously just pay when they do anything for the town, but would be held maybe responsible to at least get back to us in a timely manner, maybe set up an agreement where they would act as our labor attorney when needed. Obviously, it's not needed that often, but when you do need it and things arise, sometimes you wind up scrambling for an attorney. So my thing is here with the package, I think this is just to let the board and the public know that we will maybe be looking to hire a labor attorney and at least someone to have available for the town's needs. Peter, is that Peter Tillman?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that's right. I actually have some suggestions.
Okay.
I was asked to come up with some names as well, so.
Okay.
I don't think the town board has decided on anyone yet.
No.
This is just
No.
to go through the process of getting someone on staff who we could go to when there's labor issues that come up.
Right, so there wouldn't be a delay looking for people
Correct.
who needed, and then
Correct.
we wind up sometimes in employee situations where if you delay the process, that becomes a problem for the town.
Correct.
Okay.
How much would something like this cost?
Any idea on the cost
By
range,
the
Peter?
hour.
By the hour?
It would be purely hourly. It wouldn't be a monthly retainer, it would be purely hourly based upon use.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, we'd have to take some suggestions, look around, and poll them for their availability and their rates.
Correct.
Okay.
We would do some interviews and try to identify somebody that would be able to handle it.
Correct.
I just want to make it clear that we're only going to be paying if for use of the attorney's time.
Correct, there's no monthly
Absolutely.
retainer.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that will be discussed, and maybe in the upcoming weeks or months, someone will be at least put on to a standby thing where we're not paying for them unless we need them. Thank you. All right, and then as I said, that's been talked about for a long time, and I think it's probably time we do it. L, approve election inspectors for special elections. Mary Ellen, did you want to address this?
Yes, we have 2 special elections scheduled for Monday, and the board needs to approve the election inspectors. Last week I was informed by the board that I could make the choices, so I did call people, and I will let the public know that these election inspectors are certified from the Board of Elections. I did go down the list, and if someone was not home, I did not leave messages. I just continued down the list of calling people till I had enough, because it's late trying to put together election inspectors. So we have for the library election, the inspectors are Mary Jo Kanzler, Laurel Dreyfus, Renee Brunagel, Francis Beams, Edward Sweeney, Ann Sweeney. Machine operators, Stanley Rosenthal, Alan Leventhal, Bart Shavano, Stephen Ferber, and then Carl Green, and he will be the setup for both locations and the breakdown, and Skeet Dunn is the machine technician, and that would be for the library vote, and that's a total of $2,425 to pay those people, and that is just for the election inspectors, machine operators, and setup and tech. That does not include the cost of the ballots. Okay, then for the
Okay.
164.8.
Maybe we should do one at a time then, Mary Ellen? I think we're supposed to,
Okay,
I told the
that's fine.
attorney we should probably keep them separate.
Okay, so
Okay,
that's
so,
put forth, and just so the board knows, there is an order of 5,000 ballots at 45 cents a ballot. Okay, so we will be getting a bill for that also.
for the library.
And also, we will be getting a bill from the Board of Elections for the use of the machines. Not the use of the machines because they're federally funded. The programming of the machine and the transportation of the machine. And there will be 3 machines at the senior center for the library vote. And that cost is roughly it'll be under around $300, I believe.
Okay.
And the
So can-
library is going to reimburse us some of those costs.
Okay, great. Okay, can we have a motion to accept the election inspectors for the special election for the library, Town of Monroe, on November 9th, 2015?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept those inspectors and machine operators as told to us by our town clerk.
Is there a second? Oh, okay, there is a second, okay. Discussion? Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye. Can we do now, Mary Ellen, can you read the 164 acre annexation election?
Okay, the inspectors will be Esther Weiss, Goldie Friedman, Raquel Sofer, Kaya Jeremias, and we have 2 backups in case someone cannot come, Leah Plotzik and Faggy Wurzberger. The machine operators are David Farkas, and Shimon Leibowitz, and Ephraim Farkas is the backup. and that is for a total of $1,575. There was 500 ballots ordered for that election at 45 cents, and there are 2 machines at that polling site.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to such effect?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
And thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Okay, so that's good there. Did any board member have any thing, because I'm sorry I didn't poll you earlier, on to put onto the agenda on the new business?
Yeah, no, just one reminder is that Brian Burke of Downing Film Center organized a Jewish film festival. The first one played up in Downing Film Center in Newburgh, and the next one will be Saturday night, and it's called Get. So if you're interested, come Saturday night. You're going to have to look up the time, because I don't remember if it's 7 or 7:30, but be worth the. And then we have one on the 14th also.
7:30.
7:30. All right, thank you. At 7:30 p.m. Okay.
Okay. Very good. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to have public comment next, and this will give people who don't want to do the public comment to clear out, and everyone else, if they need a bathroom break, we've been here for a while. Okay? I just got to attend to one piece of business myself.
Pay at the door.
Get back to seats if you're not sitting. We're going to have public comment, privilege of the floor. Okay? All right. I'll just keep speaking until you sit. Privilege of the floor, public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to raise concerns before the board that are on the agenda or last week's agenda. Last meeting's agenda, because you didn't have public comment then. As a courtesy to everyone who would like to address the town board, each person is asked to keep his or her comments to 3 minutes. If more than one person wants to speak on the same subject, it's requested that a spokesperson be appointed for brevity. Public comments are limited to Monroe residents or property owners only. The public comment period will be a maximum of 60 minutes. Generally, the board does not take action on matters raised during this time, but will set the matter over to the next meeting if applicable. Agenda items should be in writing and sent to the town supervisor's office 2 weeks prior to the requested date of town board meeting to speak, obviously not in public comment. Let's keep everything civil. This is not a place to personal or political attacks on people or stump speeches or whatever. It's about town business and questions you have about town business or comments or suggestions. So we're going to do it like that. If it becomes out of hand and unruly, and perhaps some people might want to not listen to the rules of the privilege of the floor that I just read, we might have to suspend public hearing for the public speaking for the night. But let's not do that. Let's give every 14 people here who signed up a chance to speak. Okay? Thank you. First up, we have Lorraine Lonig. Can you get the mic to Lorraine, please? I know you're up there.
Oh,
down here,
so all the
to
way.
your left.
Lorraine Loading, Village of Monroe. Just going down the agenda, I have a few things. The first, I'd like to once again express my displeasure with the library vote and how you guys fumbled that football. There's some costs involved, and I know the attorney said that the library was willing to pay some, but I really don't think they need to. This was all on you guys, and this should be, either way, I'm going to end up eating, we all are going to end up eating this, and like I said, this is on you, and that's really rotten. The next thing going down here, xylophone. This seems like a really worthwhile and good organization. I do have some issues with the way the town board is. I think that you guys are using them a little bit.
Thank you.
But I also would like to say that, well, I think it's a worthwhile organization. I do take exception that you are advertising them in the official newsletter, in this ad that was in the newspaper, on the marquee of the movie theater. I mean, there are a lot of businesses in this town that would really like free advertising, and I'm not sure why you're singling out these folks. I mean, they are a good organization from what I can tell, but I think that there's a fair play component that might come to bite you in the fanny down the road. The next thing I have is about Mr. Donnelly. In his letter, he's looking for some more money. In his letter, it says some have suggested that he's making an inappropriate amount. Who the heck is this some? I mean, I think $200 an hour, that's kind of the deal he signed up for, and if he doesn't like it, maybe next time I mean, it just seems so random. It's like, this is the deal you got, so don't get me started on this, $200. Who are these some people who think it's inappropriate? I personally don't think it's inappropriate. And then the last thing I have here is, once again, I mean, I wish I could go a meeting without bringing this up, guys, but your inability to manage a calendar and run these meetings. At the September 23rd meeting, you guys hired 10 people as part-time to get them off of the 1099. And of those people, I think only 3 of them are not on the list that you did today. So what the heck happens between when you guys make a resolution and when you get back to work the next day? I mean, I think it's a good thing your HR person's going to an HR workshop, because I think that there's a problem here, because, I mean, this is, what's not getting done? And who is watching? Do you guys have any interest? I mean, it's just like blah, 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 and then it just goes into the ether. And it makes me crazy, because I am a detail-oriented gal, and I have lists and I have follow-up, and you guys just don't do any of that, and it is so frustrating here in the audience. Okay?
Thank you for your comment. Next up, Mike McGinn.
Just want to address on October 27th, Supervisor Doles called an emergency meeting. And it was in regard to I guess at the behest of the dog catcher, the animal control officer, regarding an incident that occurred 4 or 5 days prior with 2 state troopers that got bit trying to subdue a dog that wasn't even here in this town. I believe it was in the town of Woodbury. I think it was kind of inferred by the supervisor and also by his dog warden there that they couldn't handle it. And I'm here to tell you that the state police, the village of Monroe police, the village of Harriman police are more than capable of handling stray dogs, vicious dogs, or any dog that become in contact. There's I believe he complained about not, all he had was a pair of gloves. Now, I don't know how he was called out or who authorized him to go out of town and respond to the scene of this, and that's a whole other issue. Because you know what? You're all on the hook. We're all on the hook in our pockets if he goes out and does something inappropriate or injures somebody, whether it's with a town car. And now I hear that they want to arm him with a firearm. And I can tell you something, and this is serious. I did 300 warrants as a sergeant in narcotics in the city of New York. Pit bulls, you name it, in those apartments. The last thing you want to do is use a firearm on a dog in either a confined or non-confined area. Because let me tell you something, those rounds go through the dog, they ricochet, they hit innocent people. You got counsel right there, do you want to take on that liability as a town, as a board, giving this guy a gun to carry and make him a peace officer, which is totally illegal and out of just off the charts crazy. Listen, there's a certain amount of training that goes in to what you have to do, and there's lots and lots and lots of non-lethal options. One of those, we carried CO2 extinguishers, dog nooses, nets, all sorts of things to disable those dogs. And the last thing you want to do is shoot a dog, whether it's in the street or in an apartment. And it's just crazy to try to rationalize. From what I heard, I watched the video, I wasn't here. It's just incredible, all right? There's training that goes into it. I know he was former NYPD, as I was, but let me tell you something. He was an academy guy. I was a street guy. He didn't have the training that was required to subdue these animals.
Thank you.
So lastly, just one last thing. I still have time on the clock?
Yeah. Listen, time, right? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, an emergency meeting is for emergencies, not for something that happened 3 or 4 days in the past, all right? To call an emergency meeting midday to try to get someone equipment, all it really shows and highlights is that there's a failure to properly, to adequately train and equip people under your staff, under your control, and to make that some type of an emergency for something that happened in the past is just absolutely, shows poor management skills, and again, I'm not, you know, this is a board-wide issue here.
Time.
All right? So, thank you for your time and attention, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Tony Cordone.
Thank you. I'd like to address the letter that Mr. McQuaid referenced with regard to the school fundraiser with the TMAC. I have a couple of questions. First off, what is the date of the email? Second, does the email go on to say, which wasn't mentioned, paperwork has to be signed and conversations have to be had? Third, is the email signed by a woman named Debbie DePalma, who is a teaching assistant, not an administrator? Fourth, who approved it from the town board? It is my understanding that the town cannot use funds from the public for donations to an outside entity. And I ask council, do you know if this agreement was signed and approved by the town council? I'd like to read the letter from Elsie Rodriguez pertaining to such. It says, Dear Monroe Woodbury families and residents, you may have seen or heard about an advertisement in last week's edition of Photo News regarding a promotion of the TMAC movie theater that was billed as a fundraiser for the Monroe Woodbury class of 2018. Please be aware that this is not a school district sanctioned activity and we do not endorse or support it. We were not consulted or apprised prior to the town of Monroe placing an ad, and for a variety of reasons we will not be able to accept any funds donated by the town, even though they may be intended to support the class of 2018. In addition, we have asked event organizers to immediately stop using the district's logo and text. By law, the school district is not permitted to engage in the practice of advertising or making public endorsements in any manner. Every year, our graduating students participate in an array of activities to help raise money for their junior and senior year festivities, and we take great pride in their efforts. These events, like all financial activities, are highly regulated by the Board of Education Policy and Education Law. The movie theater promotion does not qualify as an officially sanctioned district event, and we won't be able to accept money from it for the following reasons. The organizers of the movie theater event did not receive prior approval from the high school principal as required by District Policy 7450. The proposed fundraiser appears to be an attempt to ask students to promote the sale of movie theater tickets for an indefinite period of time, using students as a conduit for selling movie tickets on behalf of TMAC, even though a portion of the sale of those tickets could eventually be donated back to the class of 2018, is not the same as asking the school to distribute district-approved flyers for off-campus fundraising events. The district may not be allowed to accept a monetary gift from the town of Monroe. According to the New York State Controller's Office, any gift made on behalf of the town to a school district for a public purpose must be made pursuant to a local law that is not inconsistent with the state constitution or any other general law. In the absence of such local law, a monetary donation to the town, from the town to a district, would constitute impermissible gifts of public funds. Sincerely, Elsie Rodriguez. I also ask, Harley hasn't been here in a public comment, so I am respectfully and kindly going to ask Harley and Jerry, would you please do our town a favor and resign from the town board?
Okay, Simon Friedrich, you're next.
Hi, my name is Simon Friedlich. I've been a citizen of Monroe for 36 years. I built Lake Region Estates and a lot of other homes in this area. I've contributed by supplying many local jobs and buying materials from local businesses. In 2008, when we could no longer sell a house for what it cost, I knew it was time to quit. I went back to what I studied in college, motion picture production. When I heard about Save the Theater, I was thrilled. When I heard the town bought the theater, I was even more thrilled. And here's why. You have to understand that 50% of ticket sales,
Simon, talk into the microphone.
50% of ticket sales go to the film distributor. On a blockbuster, as much as 90%. So in private hands, you have to sell an awful lot of popcorn to spend several $1 million on this building. And it didn't work in private hands, and it will not work in the future in private hands.
Let him speak, he let you speak.
He's talking to us. He's not talking to the.
Simon?
Hey!
Simon? Hold on, you can, if the public doesn't want you looking at them, look over here.
I'll look at you guys.
Okay,
Okay?
that's fine, that's fine.
They say that a town shouldn't run a theater. And in private hands, this theater did not and will not work, except for maybe a tax write-off. They say a town should, all right. First of all, it's not a theater, it's a community center. I've been to many different events here, from a historical document to live jazz performance. There's a program for handicapped children, as we've heard before, chess exhibitions, and a film festival that showed over 70 films from all over the world and had filmmakers come from as far as Paris, France to watch their film played in Monroe. We bought this jewel of a building for 10 cents on the dollar. It's not a tax burden because it pays for itself with the theater's revenue, provides jobs, and brings people to town. Before you put this community center up for sale, I want you all to consider what can happen here. Art exhibits, film and acting classes for our kids after school, musical performances, poetry slams, meetings and special events, and fundraisers. There are also many things this building can be used for almost no cost to the taxpayers. You originally wanted to save the theater.
30 seconds.
You did. Now embrace it and bring it to its full potential for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Kalmus? Thank you. Next would be Roy Kalmus. Roy, who's over there, up to the right, up to the right.
Like you said, it could be used for a lot of things.
I really just was hoping to get an answer from Peter Martin, but I see he's not here. I just still want to know where he got his numbers from on the revenue for the theater of $685,000. It's really all I wanted to say. I'd like to know where it came from.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Next up, I'm sorry. John Allegro?
Thank you. I just wanted to announce some news that we learned at about 8:30 tonight, that the Judge Connolly in White Plains has issued an injunction, not against the special election, but if the special election for the 164-acre annexation passes, that the annexation will not become law until after she makes her decision, and the land will remain until then in the unincorporated town of Monroe. To say here, when you work in the private sector and your behind is on the line for the decisions that you make, and I've interviewed people as manager who I've been responsible for. The first thing you usually do after somebody leaves the interview is to look up their name on Google, and when the first hit on that person's name in Google says, "Police say man ran over his mother-in-law," that's a red flag, especially when that person is applying for a bus driver job. Mr. McQuaid, on October 5th, you leaned into the microphone after some problems broke out in the meeting and repeated my name several times while we were on camera, accusing me of shouting and cursing and being rude. I was told by several people that they informed you after the fact that I, in fact, was sitting quietly in the front row And I emailed you and the rest of the board asking for a clarification from you, and you did not. Will you clarify that tonight? Will you clarify that tonight, Mr. McQuaid? Hello, Jerry. On October 19th, Mr. Doles looked at me during the meeting and told me to leave. Again, for no reason. I was sitting quietly in the audience. Via email, which Mr. McQuaid, I believe you were copied on, Mr. Doles tried to demur on it by saying that my name was not mentioned. However, when I looked at the recording of the meeting, it turns out that the camera operator, George Carney, trained the security camera on me for 1 full minute after Mr. Doles looked at me. My presence in the audience had no legitimate impact.
Seconds.
Thank you. George Carney, right?
The camera froze up.
Camera froze on me.
George, George, there's protocol, we answer afterwards. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Burke, on October 19th, that same day, you said that George Carney, the cameraman, is not able to edit shots out because Mr. Cologne mentioned that it seems to be an invasion of privacy by training the cameras and eavesdropping on our conversations when you're in public session, when you're in executive session, excuse me. It turns out when I watched that meeting after the fact that the little public comment session that we had was edited out of the broadcast. That, sir, was a lie. And we all knew that night that Mr. George Carney has the capability of reducing the sound and choosing the shots.
Your time is up.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker, Diane Egan.
Thank you. My comments will be short because Mr. Cardone covered the material that I wanted to cover with you. Once again, the supervisor is not here, and my comments were directly directed to him.
Resign, Diane.
Well, I simply wanted to know if our supervisor would issue a public apology for that embarrassment of an advertisement in which he just made stuff up and presumed that it would be true like Tinkerbell because he believed it enough. The reality, however, is that the taxpayers of Monroe paid for that ad. That ad, had he bothered talking to anybody at the school district, would never have been in, that information would not have been in there. The members of the Monroe Woodbury School District community, the taxpayers of Monroe, he definitely owes an apology for misleading, if not outrightly lying. Okay, and I also was going to read Ms. Rodriguez's letter because Mr. McQuaid has a phantom administrator somewhere who we will not name, who implied that maybe this wasn't a bogus fundraiser, but again, this is an anonymous person, we have no idea. And that person has a supervisor, has a boss, Elsie Rodriguez, who in no uncertain terms has said that this is not an approved fundraiser and it would be illegal. Thank you. Again, I'd like an apology.
Next up, Mike Egan. Mike Egan.
Okay, is this on?
Yep.
So, several things. Questions for the board. I know you're not going to answer it right now, but I really would appreciate an answer to this. Several of us filed 2 very serious ethics complaints against town board members, well over a month ago. I've never received a response. I was one of them, and I never received any communication about this. I have a lot of things to do in my life. Sitting around researching and writing ethics complaints is not something I would like to do. So I would appreciate the courtesy of a response in writing, number one. Number two is I'd like to know what you're doing to form an ethics board. What was sort of informally thrown out there by the town supervisor as he brushed it off was, well, we don't have a board, take it to the state, take it to the county. Well, you know, that's nonsense, all right? That's his job. He can run around trying to arm the dog catcher. He can find time to form the ethics board, and I'd like to know what is being done with that, number one. Number two, regarding this, whatever it was called, public safety officers or whatever, I just want to go on record right here that I am adamantly opposed to this. They serve at the direction, as I heard, of the town supervisor. Our town supervisor is erratic, he is volatile, and he is vindictive. He is the last person who should have a police force working for him. So I, as a citizen, tell you right now, don't do it. Third thing is, I attended a meeting last night run by Robert Freeman, who is the executive director of the New York State Committee on Open Government. It's a department of New York State. And he had a lot of interesting things to say. But one thing he said very clearly, which I knew going in, and he confirmed it, is that you cannot discriminate against public speakers. If you have rules, publish your rules. The people have to see the rules. They have to know what the rules are. You can't make them up on the spot and get away with it. It's a violation of the open meetings law. Publish your rules, and then, number two, you cannot discriminate against people. You cannot silence your enemies. They have a right to speak just like your friends do. And you know, and I know, that you allow some people here who cozy up to you to speak whenever they want, and then you jump all over people who oppose you. You can't do that. If you don't want anybody to speak, then don't let everybody speak. Third thing is I want to congratulate the citizens of the town of Monroe. You've demonstrated that each and every one of us can make a difference in this world. First, you stopped this board from approving a 507-acre annexation. And then Tuesday night of this week, you voted in Tony Cardone and Mike McGinn. In doing so, you showed that the people of Monroe will no longer tolerate bad actors on this town board. And I hope that's a lesson and a message to the remaining members. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Convair?
Emily Colbert. I wanted to also talk about xylophone. I have some similar comments to Lorraine. What a heartfelt presentation and a beautiful service to bring music to special needs people in our community. It's truly inspiring. I applaud this venture and I wish them success in the future. Xylophone utilizes the movie theater for their activities. Harley Doles, in a statement which was broadcast on Channel 22 on many occasions just a few weeks ago, stated that the movie theater would likely close come January. In a recent budget meeting on the theater, Doles mentioned the closing of the theater also. Multiple ads have been placed in the photo news advertising the theater, and Doles, at the same budget meeting, blamed me personally for the lack of strong attendance at this theater, as though I have voodoo mind control over the thinking citizens in this town who have arrived at the conclusion that they don't want to fund Harley's fantasy projects. You, and more specifically, Harley Doles, know full well that the candidates who have just been elected, Tony Cardone and Mike McGinn, wish to encourage the sale of this building. They've stated that publicly, and I think everybody knows that, to a private enterprise who will run it as a movie theater. And contrary to the earlier speaker, I do believe this would be a very, very lucrative business, and the reason why it went under previously had nothing to do with attendance. It had to do with the owner being in over his head, and he wound up in jail. It was lucrative, and it brought $40,000 to the school district in tax revenue alone. So basically, Harley, I believe, is using Xylophone as a pawn in a game. Should the theater be put on the market, Xylophone will be out of a venue. Harley gets to capitalize on that. We've seen him manipulate this way before, and I think it's disgusting.
Thank you. Next commentary would be Ward Brower. Ward is down this way.
Down here.
Ward Brower, private citizen. And I respectfully am asking, what happened to the Conservation Commission's version of tree code? We've worked on that for off and on for probably 18 years at least. Some sections not quite as long. But it doesn't look like that tree code gets vanished.
And next concern. When will the town pass an well/aquifer protection act? So specifically regarding the overuse of highway chemicals. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next speaker would be Christina Kiesel.
I have a few questions, but don't worry, they're rhetorical. Did you purposely plan this meeting for the same night as the middle school parent-teacher conferences? I'm sure Harley's aware of the conferences since I saw one of his many secretaries there just earlier. How many more resolutions will you try to pass, friends will you hire, vehicles and weapons will you purchase before January when we finally have representation and a voice on the board? Why are you considering hiring a bus driver that was charged with a felony intentionally driving over his mother-in-law with a car? Why have you hired a criminal defense attorney instead of a municipal attorney? Why are you blowing through millions of taxpayer dollars on a movie theater, giant ducks and swans, a totally unnecessary public safety department, aka Harley's Gestapo, and George Carney, a full-time videographer, also a maintenance department? And why are you defunding the highway department to pay for these ventures? Why are you trying to arm a dog control officer? The town of Monroe is no longer asleep at the wheel. We're wide awake and we're watching your every move, and we are counting down the days until we take back our town.
Okay, thank you. Next would be Mike Goldstein. Down here.
Mike Goldstein, resident of the town in the village. Gentlemen, if you have a problem getting getting bus drivers for dial-a-bus, I suggest you go across the street where the school bus operators are and get some of them to work part-time for you, because they already have the CDLs and they will not be working against the CDL license because they don't really drive for 40 hours a week. So you might be able to make up some of the runs that you're missing with the absence of this individual. I would also like to clarify a fact. Captain K-9 was not in Woodbury. He went to the state trooper barracks, which we are the landlords of. So to accuse Captain K-9 of picking up a dog in Woodbury is not true. The state troopers brought that animal back to Monroe. The fact that he was not prepared has nothing to do with the town board. It's with the sloppy procedures of the dog warden who attended to this crisis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mike. Next speaker, Debbie Berenger.
Here we are again at a town board meeting. It's public comment, and I ask, where is Harley Doles? How is this allowed to go on? He repeatedly misses public comment. He is a coward. He can't face us. Unacceptable. He obviously doesn't care about anything we have to say. Is he here in the building, listening, hiding? There's never an explanation as to why he isn't here. Now let's talk about the library. We had a huge election on Tuesday. It would have been nice to have the library on the ballot. I know I asked Mary Ellen Beams repeatedly. She asked, can you please put it on the ballot? And she was ignored by the town board. Now it's costing us thousands of dollars and to send people out on another day to have to vote. Also, why can't we detect a video signal? We're in this theater and we look at a screen with nothing on it, or we can't detect a video signal. Public comment is once a month, and you pick and choose who speaks. You can't blame people for having outbursts. We're frustrated and we're fed up. I feel this meeting is a setup to promote the TMAC. We saw Harley on Channel 22 begging us to come here or it will close by January 1st. All I know is I'm looking forward to January 1st, 2016. I finally feel that we have a voice.
Thank you. Next speaker, Veronica Conley.
Thank you. And Mr. McQuaid, for the record,
Yes?
it is by law that you had to allow me to speak. It wasn't your good doing. Thank you,
I'll address that later, thank you.
Thank you, counsel, for clearing the record and making that aware that it's my right to speak. I see the minute approval for October 5th. I'd like to know if the public comment sign-up sheet was included in those minutes from the October 5th meeting. If not, why has it not been produced since I foiled it on October 6th with the clerk's office at 9 a.m.? Any comment on, no, right, I forgot you don't answer questions.
So after.
Right, okay. On October 5th meeting, and again this evening, residents were potentially going to be excluded, and I was excluded from the participation in public comment in an act of discrimination. I'd like to know how the board came up with such a decision, or was it Mr. McQuaid's sole responsibility for perpetuating that discrimination? But I already got my answer on a recording when he just said he made up his own rules.
Nice.
Being that he was the acting supervisor that evening. And thank you for Tony and Mike for finally being my voice. Because come January 1st, Mr. McQuaid, the nonsense that you tried to pull on me again tonight will never, ever happen to anybody in this room, especially me. You are a bully. I will not be bullied by you.
Oh, no.
And finally, for the library, there are many individuals who vote by absentee ballot. Why is that not being offered for this election? They have a voice that needs to be heard, just like every other election, because you, as Lorraine put it, made a major fumble and purposefully didn't vote for this election for the budget meeting, the budget to be put on the ballot. So how do the people who you're now disenfranchising for having a voice to say whether they want the increase or not, what are you doing to represent them? But that's obvious, nothing, because you represent nobody in this town.
Thank you. That's the last public speaker. We're going to let the board take 2 or 3 minutes to look at their notes and maybe... All right, we're going to answer a few of the issues and comments and hopefully give some information and to our best of our ability. Okay? I'm going to ask that... Dennis, do you have anything to say about some of the public comments or questions? Dennis?
Let's see, Mike, again, you raised a very good point. There's no reason for a dog control officer to use anything.
Excuse me, Dennis, were you talking to your mic, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mike, you raised a very good point. There's no reason in my mind why any dog control officer needs to be armed with a sidearm. A net or some kind of a stunning piece of chemical would be appropriate. I would definitely be voting against that if that ever comes up for a vote. I think it only was, I wasn't able to make that emergency meeting because I do have a job. But my recollection was the only time that had ever come up was at a meeting some many months ago. It's never been discussed since. So just to put your fears at rest. Mike Egan, regarding the ethics board, you do deserve an answer. I'll speak with the supervisor, see if that does any good. But in all seriousness, why that board has been allowed to be understaffed, if you will, for all these many years is amazing. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would like to be involved and just never step forward. So we should really make that an important effort on part of this board. I won't be here to do it, but if Mike and Tony, if you could pursue that one, that would be, I think, a real benefit to this town. Ward, the tree code that took 4 years, has been set up for public hearing. I wasn't terribly pleased with that alternative, but I guess we spent a lot of money on it, so we at least should hear it out. Those are all the comments I had.
Okay. I can repeat what Dennis said, that there's no plan to arm the dog control officer. Nobody put that forward. We're not going to do it. It's just not on the table. We're not even thinking about it. And as Mike pointed out, that incident happened in the town of Monroe. That's where he was called, to the barracks within the town of Monroe. I'm pretty sure what I said about filming the audience during the break was that our video cannot be shut down and then started back up again. Not that it can't be edited. So I'd have to take a look at that particular meeting. But what I said was that it can't be shut down and then back up again. It's just too difficult to keep it. So that's why the videographer had it going. And I'm glad we can edit it, and we will do that when it's appropriate. And I heard one good suggestion. I heard one good suggestion was publish the rules. Now, we've been trying to do that for quite a while, and they should be in writing. And that's the way to do it, and we will do that. We get it done before I leave. And what I heard someone bragging about stopping 507. Well, I voted to stop the 507. All right, so
Let him speak. He didn't yell at you when you were speaking. You get it?
And they're
good. It's not that hard to understand. Go ahead, Dan. They're going to stop interrupting you.
And as far as the library vote, that was September. September 7th was Labor Day. September 14th was Rosh Hashanah. We had the one meeting, the September 21st. The next meeting was September 28th, and we didn't know that the Board of Elections needed it in by 5 p.m. on the 28th. So when it was when we had before us on the 21st, I heard 4 people say that we did this purposely, and that is incorrect. We did not. We had the one meeting. We had the one meeting on the 21st and didn't get it done that night because other things interrupted what we were doing. So and we believed that night we could do it on the 28th and it'd be up and running. There's no vendetta against the library. There's no.
I was there. He told you clearly it needed to be done.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right, we'll go to the videotape. All right, we'll take a look at it. All right. Anyway,
can you let the councilman speak? He's answering a question.
Yeah, that's how it unfolded. It got crunched into one date, and that particular meeting, there was a lot of interruptions, and we didn't get it done that night. Right?
If you could let him speak,
and
please.
I think that's quite reasonable. I told you what dates that we couldn't meet, and the one date we had, and that's quite reasonable. That's quite reasonable how that happened. I told you also.
Please,
please.
Can you please stop screaming out, please?
It's my turn to pontificate. Wait a second here.
You're the one screaming.
Okay, I guess you don't want to hear what he has to say, so that's fine if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Dan, do you want to keep going, or?
No, that's the issues I have tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'm sorry they didn't let you speak.
Well, no, that's all right. Thank you all for coming. You know.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Rick, you have anything?
So many things, but I'll just try to keep it brief. First off, I'm looking forward to the changes that all of us are coming to see in January. I do want to caution people that these gentlemen are going to be, working very hard to get up to speed on so many issues and so many things we have to work on. I know you'll give them your support and give them some time to get acclimated because there's a lot of things to do on this board. emergency meetings. We have to, it has to be a real emergency, not, I think it's an emergency type of meeting. There's a lot of things that we have to address. The expense of this building, what we're gonna do to it, how can we, are we gonna use it as a revenue stream? There's a lot of things we have to look at. I appreciate that Xylophone did come and make their presentation, but at the same time, our community is not a thriving metropolis where we have a lot of businesses to offset a lot of these costs. So it's difficult for nonprofit organizations like that to continue, but I don't think it should be an extraordinary burden or to keep this, or to use that as one reason to keep this open. If we're going to keep the theater, we should have it as a revenue stream. That was always my intention. If we can't, we're gonna have to see what we can do with this building later on. This is costing an extraordinary amount of money with equipment and personnel. People know this, and we're gonna have to address these issues, but I digress. I apologize for that. Conservation Commission has worked on the tree code for how many years?
18.
18. Well, yes, why rush? The trees are growing well, and we'll get to that. But eventually we will get to a tree code. Stop it. As far as the library vote goes, I am disappointed in all of us here at this board for letting that pass. We have to do better, and we will do better. And we have to listen more. I also want to make sure that we pass that rule, not a law, but a rule that's going to limit us to how long we can speak. So we don't outspeak you. We're not here to outspeak you. We're not here to fight with you. We are here to listen to our citizenry and hopefully work with our citizenry. So I'm looking forward to a more enhanced board. I'll put it that way. And thank you, everybody.
That's it? Okay, very good. Okay,
Less
a
than
few
3 minutes.
Wonderful, I'm proud of you. Businesses, free ads, I could get in a whole diatribe of what I feel has happened to the local businesses and why there's some issues here with the TMAC, but I'll save that for a future date. The library was a mistake that cost some money. I think the board, I'm not going to speak for the board members, I'll speak for myself. I apologize for that mistake. That was a problem, and it will not happen again. If someone thinks it's on purpose, I know how the sentiment runs in the town. I will guarantee you no member of the board purposefully made a mistake that we would get beat up with for week after week after week and cost the town money. That wasn't it. Even at the meeting that I was at, I wasn't at the first meeting. The second meeting, I brought up a question at the library, and we were actually told that the lawyer was here, the library, the head of the library was here, and some other people with the library. They said we had to do it tonight, so I backed off my question on the budget, and we voted on it. So as far as we knew, even with their attorney, we all thought it was okay. I think the supervisor's office had spoken to them, and they said that day or night, I think they said that evening, they know our meetings are at 7:30, they said that would be it. So we apologize for that. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't think anyone meant it, but it was an unfortunate mistake. As far as the managing of a calendar, that's a good point. As far as a follow-up, I'll have to agree. I think the follow-up has been spotty. I think that there's a lot of stuff that comes up. I'm not making excuses. There are reasons for it, but the follow-up definitely has to be improved. I made some suggestions. I know that the citizen who brought this up knows I made suggestions at some budget meetings on how to make it better. What you have to realize is the members of the board are part-time, there's one full-time member, the supervisor, and there's no excuse for the part-time workers here who do their best. But all of us have jobs and other things. Some people also have things they give to the community. They do fun, work for the community, so everyone's very busy here. There is a problem, no, there's a problem with it. Didn't I just say there was a problem with it? But I'm giving you reasons, not excuses. I qualified that. I qualified that. It's gotta get better. And I have a few suggestions where I think it can get better. And from living in the county, as long as I have, thanks Tony, from living in the county as long as I have, I think around the county, because I've dealt with other municipalities, some of them have just part-time supervisors. I think it's even worse then. Okay, so we'll work on that. We'll work on that. We will work on that. You're right. October 27th, the meeting, I have my own issues with whether that was an emergency or not. We came to the meeting expecting to serve the public. I think we did. No one here that I know of is looking to harm anyone. State police, it was mentioned that night, I don't know where the confusion came from, that it was at the police barracks. So the DCO did say that, so I don't know where the story got twisted up, but it did. He did say that evening. If you look into it and look at the tape if you want, that's what he said. Do I think that, like Mike, he has NYPD training? He's a knowledgeable guy, yes. I don't think that the DCO should be unarmed totally. Maybe he could have some kind of stun gun, as Dennis said, or pepper spray or something non-lethal, and I think that should be done. Okay, as far as the school fundraiser date, I will tell the citizen that it was on October 29th at 10:34. Like I said, I read the letter. I think it was done, obviously from what the superintendent said, it was done improperly. I don't think it was meant intentionally, as some people have said. I think it was a nice idea. It was actually put forth by the students. So if you want to blame someone for it, it's our fault that it was done improperly. But the students' sentiment was a nice thing, and I think the town intentions were nice, but it obviously didn't work properly. Please let me speak. Okay. Maybe in the future we can set it up with a better system where the fundraisers could be done better and the laws could be looked at better, okay? As far as the citizen who decides who stays and who resigns, that's not how it works, and I hope it never has to work that way for you if you fall out of favor. I know there was a previous member of your group who was the golden boy for a long time and then became out of favor, and look what happens. So, we'll see what happens in the future. But anyway, that's how it works. I hope it doesn't work that way for you. I hope you get a good chance to do your work and make an impact. Good for the theater and the TMAC. I happen to agree with the gentleman. The art exhibits, the music, poetry, theater, obviously the people today who came and made a nice presentation about xylophone with their group. You could say that is someone said it was a pawn. I think that's a terrible way to characterize doing nice things in your community. If you had done it, it would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. But since Harley did it, it was horrible. I get how you are unfair with everything. See how you are unfair with everything. Roy, Peter will get back to you, and I'm not twisting. You said what you said.
That's not what I said.
John Allegro, let's see. Thank you for letting us up on the legal things. We had known about that. Google, you're right, that's a good point. I don't know why that wasn't done, but it should be done. That's an excellent point. Okay. The problem with outbursts and such, I know the citizen mentioned that. If there's outbursts, we also have to worry about public safety. We have a public safety group that at the moment can't really do that much about. We have to call the police, and it takes time for response. Sometimes what we have to worry about goes beyond freedom of speech. When there is, like, someone yells fire in a movie theater, you can't do that. There's other issues with public safety, and we have to be careful with that. So if I ever err on public safety, it's mainly meant to keep everyone safe. As far as the super not being here, you'd have to ask him his reasons. He's not here, so I took the helm to run the meeting. I don't know about that. I think you could ask him for an apology, and someone said something about Tinkerbell, but, you know, that's kind of denigrating, but that's okay, you can call him that if you want. You're right, when you said that the boss did not okay it from the letter. Okay, going down the list. We'll look into the ethics board, it was brought up by Dennis. We had a few people years ago, they dropped out. We had a few people extra come in. Some of them didn't even sign the book within the time periods and they faded away from it, and that's fine, everyone's so busy. But we look to move that forward. Okay, I noticed that someone said something about closing TMAC. I'm totally against it. If there is a private ownership that wants to buy it for the right price, a reasonable price, and agree to 5 years of agreement as a movie theater, I'd be in favor of that. So we'll see what happens. Commissioning a tree code vanished for 18 years. No, it wasn't vanished. It was looked at, and it can be brought up at the public hearing if there's things or additions you want to put back in or add to. You're more than welcome. This one was roughly 5 years, I guess. Someone said 4. It's actually probably 5. And you know what? It's quicker than 18, but hopefully it works out. Middle school conferences, we did not schedule this to interfere with middle school conferences. That's just another thing that is, in my opinion, let's be real. We had an election, which you're all very aware of. We had to have this place on Monday open. Not open for a meeting, but we couldn't do it then. We had other things to do to set up the election. So please understand it was not meant to interfere with the conferences. A vehicle, there has been requests for vehicles. Even the highway department has mentioned to the comptroller issues about vehicles. We don't have a huge staff of vehicles. There's small municipalities right here in this very area. In fact, some right here in the town that have a much bigger vehicle pool than we do with less population to serve and less area to go on. So we're looking at what's the best option for that. I know Mr. Burke wants to go electric and green, and that's something that we'll look into. Maybe the public would agree with that. Again, it was brought up about the DCO with the gun. That's not going to happen. School bus operators, someone mentioned to go talk to them. I think the person with Dial Bus had gone to ask them, but I will reiterate to that person that they should do it if they haven't again. Okay? If you're going to give people monikers on their work, just remember that even though you might not agree with them, let's at least treat the employees with some kind of a degree of dignity. If they make a mistake or ask for things that they're not going to get, I don't think they should be mocked for it. Harley is not here. The question came up. Your way of referring to him is not very flattering. I don't know what the issue was. Is he hiding somewhere and listening? No, he is not. Does he have listening with a glass on the door? No, he's not. But you know what? I will ask him what happened, and if he feels to choose, or if it was some kind of personal issue, I don't know if I can't disclose that. I can't disclose that if it's a private issue. He can answer the question. I'm not him. I'm not him. I'll ask him to answer it. Okay, if you give me a moment to talk, I'll ask him to answer it, and we can all laugh. But he will get asked. This meeting was not a setup for TMAC. I don't know where that came from, but this is a town board meeting. The fact that someone wanted to come up and defend TMAC is their opinion. I mean, everyone's allowed to have an opinion, positive or negative. And as far as a voice for the community, you may not like what is the direction of some things, but I don't know. I think we can go over list by list things. In fact, I might draw one up of all the things that sometimes we propose. The public says they don't want it, and we back off or change direction. There's a long list of that. You can mischaracterize that, that's fine, but we do have a long list of that. And lastly, let's see, I am not going to get involved in someone saying that, everyone likes to call everyone a bully, but Nothing was ever meant by me with discrimination. I was worried about public safety. And I also have to say that in the past, certain people, it's gotten very heated here, and I worried about the safety not only of the board, but of the public. But before anything else goes on, as Dan said, we'll have a meeting, and we'll discuss proper rules as far as if anyone has to be escorted out, or perhaps kept from speaking, or at least in public safety issue, not allowed to keep speaking. So we will look into that. That was a good suggestion. Thank you. I think I answered most of the questions. We're going to have to make a motion to go into attorney-client executive session for legal issues, contracts, some employee issues, and I think it's about 8 issues all told, mainly legal, maybe 1 employee issue with the personnel. Can I get a motion to go into executive session, attorney-client?
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we go into executive session.
And attorney-client.
And attorney.
I always seem to be sitting
Is there a
close.
second?
I'll see you next time, okay?
Is there a second?
What issues are we gonna discuss?
Okay, documents, legal issues with Walton Lake, executive
7 items.
bids that we have to look at to see if they were done the right way and about acceptance. We're also going to talk about rules of civility. We're going to talk
Rules of civility.
we're going to talk about some highway approval. That's a legal issue. Approval to hire someone with the highway. There's a legal issue with that with the state. Walton Lake extension acceptance documents from the attorney, and I'm sorry, one other issue I don't have listed here. I'll find it. I misplaced it. So there is issues to go into and talk about. Do you want to have a second for the motion? Second. Okay, call the question.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to retire to executive session, attorney.